Hello, YouTube. In the Soviet Union, the activities of people interested in supernatural practices and paranormal phenomena were treated with great attention because their abilities and skills could be used for the good of the communist expansion and suppression of the enemies of the state. But you see, the rulers of the Soviet Union tried not to advertise such interests, so many ethnographic expeditions became known only after the collapse of the USSR. To study the people with paranormal abilities, those ethnographic expeditions were equipped and followed by special services, reference being given to the secret police, the punishing sword of the proletarian dictatorship, so that you have an idea what these punishing sword holders looked like. Look at the very last picture of the servants of the people. Anyway, one of these expeditions was a trip to the Borovichy district of the Novgorod region in the year 1928. Its purpose was to study the life of sorcerers and magicians in the Soviet Russia. So the employees of the Leningrad Museum of Ethnography and Anthropology became members of the expedition in search of sorcerers. They did not choose their destination by chance. This territory has had a bad reputation since ancient times. There are quite a number of creepy stories about the sorcerers and magicians who had resided there. Now, local residents were said to be endowed with the ability to kill with a glance, send pestilence on livestock, and even turn human beings into animals. Of course, scientists perceived such evidence as fairy tales. However, they couldn't either refute them or confirm them, those experts. So the expedition, it was being prepared for quite a long time, and it was done carefully. At the preparatory stage, the sorcerers were even given a definition in order to understand whom to study away from the civilization. And thus the objects of research were to be people who were able to change the laws of nature and the natural course of things with the help of certain rituals. Outwardly, according to the villages recorded by Leningrad ethnographers, an ordinary village sorcerer or witch looked like an ordinary person. However, there were differences. It's not known why, but in the villages it was believed that for some reason the sorcerers possessed two shadows. At the same time, one of the priests of the Borovichy district, Father Photius, at the turn of the 19th century, noted that the vast majority of local magicians had tangled long hair and their eyes were crazy and protruding. However, in practice, the members of the expedition observed a completely different picture. During the business trip in the villages of Borovichy district, Soviet ethnographers met literally a crowd of local residents who really considered themselves to be sorcerers and witches. But upon detailed study, the magicians turned out to be ordinary people with unusual hobbies. They were fortune tellers as well as engaged in healing and placing of an evil eye on someone. The researchers drew attention to the fact that viritniki, the so-called sorcerers in that region, were more willing to undertake evil deeds than good ones. Over time, such mystics managed to convince their neighbors that it was better, especially at night, not to meet face to face with them. The story of the ethnographer Kuzmin is known there. What happened is to him, one of the local village sorcerers of 70 years of age offered to transfer his powers. The old sorcerer sincerely lamented that his children, one a Red Army soldier and the other a religious believer, flatly refused this terrible inheritance. Despite the undoubted scientific interest of this experiment, Kuzmin also refused to the transfer of witchcraft power to him. Then the old man promised in his frustration to transfer the magic power to a stick and throw it on the road. And whoever raises that stick, whoever picks it up, would become a sorcerer. Exactly what information the scientists received during such an expedition is not really known. After returning to Leningrad, the ethnographers carefully recorded all the information received and handed over the documents to their archives. According to one hypothesis, Soviet intelligence services and, of course, the secret police later became interested in the collected data. The Chekists, as the ancestors of the KGB, the secret police were called, decided to use some of the information obtained by the researchers in their work and elaborate projects to punish the perceived and real enemies of their despicable activities. And I have described some of such activities in great detail, and you can see it in the playlists in my channel. So this is a small episode in the paranormal history of the Soviet Union, and I think it should be of interest to a number of people. And I'll continue to bring you history of Eurasia and other parts of the world not well known to people who live in the West. And of course, the paranormal phenomena research. So if you like my video and can support my research, please do so to the links in the description to this video. Please like my videos, and thank you again for your attention to my work.